here comes enter a number. Let's try 45. Okay. Now 45 is divisible by 15. So it should print happy face. And here we go. Here we have happy face. Right? Let's run again. Let's try 6. Since 6 is not divisible 15 and not divisible by 5, it is divisible by 3. So happy. And for 10, fails. Right? Any more doubts? I think it is clear now. Why should we write 15, the condition for 15 in if statement and 3 and 5 in elif statements? Right, okay, so let's move forward. Let's come to list. So as discussed before, list is a type of a data structure in Python, and to define a list we use curly braces here and here. Oh sorry, square brackets. As you can see here, I've defined this list pets, and we have used this square brackets here. Then each element of a list is called list item. So a cat here would be called a list item. Same for a dog, a parrot, and monkey. Now, why do we require list? See, suppose I have to store these number of pets. So now to instead of making different variables for each pet, what I can do is I can simply assign list to pets and collect them all and give it to a list. So now we have a collective set of pets, right? We do not need to assign different variables to each of them. So that's why we use list, and lists are ordered and mutable, which means ordered means that each of the list will have a element number. So we start with 0. 0 would be assigned to cats, then dog will be 1, parrot will be 2, and monkey would be 3. And if I print, let's see, if I print pets 0, so what I have done is that I am calling this cat and I'm asking the print statement to print this. So we'll get an output as a cat. And here we have cat, right? And what does mutable means? Mutable means that we can assign a different value to the same thing. Like if I assign pets 1 to let's say cow, right? So now if I'll print pets 1, what I'll be having cow as a output. See, cow. So we can reassign the value of a list item. Okay. So these are some built-in functions of a list. Append, insert, extend. We'll discuss about them more. Let's see. Append is used to add an element of the list. And every time we use append, the list item is added at the end only. Okay, we cannot assign using append to which element do we need to assign, to what index do we need to assign. Whereas in insert, we can use the index and tell them that we want this particular list item to be assigned at this index. Like okay, now let me just do pets dot append. So now whenever I'll do append, the item would be added to the end of the list. And if I'll do insert, and I'll give the index element. See, I use this append statement and monkey is added to the end of the list. Whereas when I used this dog and gave it a index element 1, the dog was added to index element 1, right? 0 and 1. And here we have dogs and rest of the elements were shifted forward. Okay. Now, similarly, we use pop. What does pop do? Is like in append, we are adding the element. Pop just removes the last element. And in the count, we can give about how many numbers the same element is appearing in the list. It gives us the integer value of about how many numbers the same value is appearing in the list, right? And in sort, we can sort them as the set understood by the word sort. We can sort them alphabetically or in the increasing order of numbers. And using the reverse statement, we can also use them in decreasing order of the numbers. I won't run all of these codes due to time constraint, but you can try it. It is the same. We use the same type, the list name dot, and then the function which you want to run. Okay, just try them on your own. And if you have any doubts, you can ask later. Now, I'll also tell you a little bit about nested lists. So in a list, we can have any type of value. We have told that before. We can have an integer, a string, or even a list inside a list. So that is what we call a nested list. And to access an item in a nested list, let me just show you. So as you can see, I'm entering a list inside a list. This 1, 2 is a list as it is in the square brackets. And it is also inside this list where we have 3, 4. So now if I want to access this element, suppose I want to print this 2. What will I do? I'll simply go to matrix and it is in the element 0 of the main list, that is matrix. So we'll just go there 0. And then where we'll go? We'll go in this next list, which is 1 and 2. So 0 and 1. So this index element is 1. So I'll print this and we'll get 2 as an output. See, we are having 2 as an output. Right. I hope this is clear. If you have any doubts, you can ask.
Aradhya, can you just show an example of using different data types in same list?
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Let's make a list of multiple and let's call this a string. This would be an integer. Okay, this would be float. And here we can have a list inside a list. So, okay. Now let's print this list. And see, it did not show any error, rather the list was printed, which means that we can define a list having multiple data types, a string or an integer, float or a list or a complex number or anything. Okay. Okay, since nobody has any doubts, let's move forward. Coming towards loops. So you all must be aware of a loop. What does a loop do? It runs a block of code again and again till a particular condition is met. Right? For example, let's go to while loop. In the while loop, we'll start the loop by giving a particular condition. And then we'll check if the condition is true. We'll run the while loop, the code which will be given in the while loop. And if that is true, then we'll check the condition. If the condition is true, we'll come back to the code again. Then here we'll be executing the code which we want to execute and changing the condition. So let's change the condition, and if that is true again, we'll go here, and if it is false, we'll simply exit the loop. right? So now we are out of the loop, and we can will be executing the next block of code, which would be out of the loop and not a part of a loop. Let's see with an example. So while, let's just define a variable x equals to 5, right? While x is less than, here also we'll need to use indentation. Please make sure about that, because otherwise the Python will not know till where is your while loop, the code of block is going. Right, so we first assigned the value x. The while loop checked whether x is greater than 0, that is 5 is greater than 0. This condition is true. So we went on to inside the while loop and we checked print x. So print 5. Then we reduce the value of x to -1, right? X minus equals to 1 means x equals to x minus 1. That is, we are assigning x to now x minus 1. So now x is 4. Then we checked again the while loop. 4 is greater than 0. We came back here 4, print 4. Then x became 3 and so on till x became 1. Now as soon as x becomes 1 and we do x minus 1, we get 0. So since x is not 0 is not greater than 0, so we came out of this loop and we printed end of the loop. So that's how 0 is not printed, and that's how a while statement is executed. Now, almost the same logic for loop also. For, let's just define another variable. Okay, so now first let me tell you what is this range. Range means from this particular number to this number, I want a continuous set of numbers, that is from 0 to 5. And here 5 would be exclusive. We won't include 5. So 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4 would be considered. 5 would be the ending point and it would be exclusive. So range is an exclusive function excluding the last number which we are putting it. So what will this loop do? It will first check I in range 0 to 5. That is, I is first 0. So we'll print 0. Then we'll check I is 5 and this is in the range which is given to us. So the statement is true. So we'll print 2 and similarly till 3 and 4. And when it comes 5, since 5 is exclusive, we'll see I in range 5. So no, we do not need 5. We only want numbers till 4. So 5 won't be executed and we will come out of the loop, and hence we'll print the end of the loop. See 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and end of for loop. Here we do not even need to define this I equals to 5, and that is the benefit of for loop. Since you are using the range function, the I is auto-defined. Any doubts in loops or list? Okay, let's move forward to strings. So what are strings? We have discussed this earlier. Strings is a sequence of characters, right? You all are aware of this, and I won't discuss this again due to time constraint. Let's just come to strings functions directly. So starting with upper, what do we do is, let me just define a string. Okay, sorry. Right. So as soon as I assigned this upper to x, what did it do? It simply converted all of the entire string into the up capital letters. As the name suggests, upper, the capital letters, right? And similarly, if I'll do this for lower, since it is already in lower, we will be getting the same output. But if any of the letter would be in the capitalized manner, we'll get the lower. Let's just try that also. I'll just change one letter and we'll see. Okay, so now this capital S is changed to small x because that was the only capital letter here. What will lower do? It will convert the entire string into lower small letters. Okay. Now, what is more important? Length. What does a length function do? It checks the length of the given string. We can also use this for list. Length would check the function of the string, and that's how we define it. Length of x. So here we'll be getting an integer which would define how long is this string, right? T is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So spaces are also included, and that's how we check the length of a string. We can also check the length of a list using length function itself. Like here, let's check here. So length function simply gives us an integer and tells us what is the length of the object here. So as you can see, we are getting 5 as an output because at the end we have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 list items in the list. Right? Any doubts? Okay, then I would like to hand over the presentation to Apur.
Thank you, Aradhya. So that was a nice overview of what string is, loop is, and what list is in Python. So I guess like everyone has an idea of the same. So if you have any doubts, please ask either in the chat box or by unmuting yourself. Else I will go ahead by sharing my screen because that's important. Like if you have any doubt and if you don't ask, then it's of no use, right? Okay, so I think that there are no more doubts, so I can move ahead. Cool. So you have an idea of what list is, what a nested list is, what loop is, and what string is. So we have been like talking about list, right? So list is a type of data structure in Python. Okay, so data structure is something that allows us to structurize our data in a form we can use it for some other purpose. So it's really important that you know when to use which data structure. Okay, so before that, I will come on what is a next data structure: dictionary. Once you get to know about list, dictionary, tuples, and sets that we have planned to discuss today, you will like get an idea where to use what. And I will like keep on telling you why we are not using dictionary or list in this case. So let's come on dictionary first. So dictionary, as the name suggests, you know that dictionary, the same Oxford dictionary that you might have at your home. What you do, like whenever you want to find the meaning of a word, you open the dictionary, search for the word using the alphabet, and then when you reach the word, you find the meaning of that particular word. Similarly, that word, suppose you want to find the meaning of maybe meditation. Okay, so you need to find the meaning of meditation. Then you will search for the word meditation. That word meditation becomes your key. Okay, so that is a key, and the meaning of that word becomes a value. So dictionary works with a you can say it works on a basis of key value pairs. You have a key, and for each key you have a value. To explain it in a better way, let us compare it with list. Okay, so for example, in a list, what you do, like Aradhya told you just now, let me scroll up. So here you had a list: monkey, cow, parrot. So how you were accessing the element? You were writing pets, and in the square brackets zero. So what zero is? Zero was the indices, like it was the index. Sorry, it was the index of the element monkey. Then one was the index of the element cow. Two was the index of the element parrot. But suppose you come across a particular situation where you don't want 0, 1, 2 as the default indexes. Okay, there you want some indexes that are that are created by you. So there a dictionary comes into play. So first I will start with telling you how dictionary is you can say defined. So here you can see an example, and I will go ahead with taking the same example. So first of all, whenever you have to define a dictionary, there are multiple ways. We will go with the very, you can say the classic one. So I will just write dictionary equals to, then in braces, first I write name. So here it is written Bob, sorry, and then it is age. Let me zoom in a little. Yeah, better. So it's 25. Then we say about job, and let us say it's developer. So we will take this much for now. So what you have done is this name is acting as a key, age is acting as a key for 25, job is acting as a key for dev. Now suppose I want to extract the value of age. So what I will do, I will write print dictionary, and here I will write sorry, age, right? Uh-huh. Okay, just a second. Yeah. Okay, it's connecting to the server. Mhm. Yeah. So here you get 25. This is how you can use any key. And yeah, one more thing that I would like to tell you here is it doesn't matter whether your key is a string, an integer, or some other value, maybe a float value. So suppose we take another key as you can say 5, and the value will be suppose let us keep it 5 only. Okay, so this is a integer, this is a string. Let us see whether that works for us or not. Yes, so that works for us. So this is how you can define a dictionary, and there's an important concept here, that is you can also define a list in dictionary. So what is a list in dictionary? So that's pretty simple. So if you just try to define define that in your mind. So what you can do is, suppose you have, okay, let me tell you this way. Suppose you have a dictionary, okay, dictionary temp, and there you have key as a and the value as a list, okay. So this is the value, and suppose you want to access element second of this particular list. So how you will do that? Well, before going ahead, I would like to ask you how you are going to access this particular element, because you have an idea of dictionary, you have an idea of list. So I hope that you can do that. Just give it a try. Okay. So you can write in the chat box what will be the way you can access the value. Don't write this dictionary temp as a whole. That will take some long. You can simply use D for that instead of this dictionary temp. You just tell me like I want to access this element, this second element, this three. So how I will do that? Okay, dot get command. Yes, this is one way. Cool. Any more ways that you have in your mind? Anyone? So I think that okay. So let us see how we can access the element. First of all, let us go with the basic method that we have used. So what I will do, I will simply write a. So this particular term, this whole term, dictionary temp, and in bracket a, will will point to this value, this whole list. So when I try to print it, it will print 234. Let me comment out this for ease. It will print the whole list. Now, how do we access any element in the list? We access it by the indices. So what is the index of 3? It is 1. Because you know in a list or in an array, the indexes start from 0, not 1. So now when I run this, I will get the element 3. This way you can define a list, you can define even tuples that we will come towards later on. Okay, so we will learn about that later on. And you can access any element in a dictionary. So the basic purpose of dictionary, I've already told you like why we use dictionary and what is the need to use that. So that must give you a pretty an idea about what dictionary is used for. So if you have no doubts, then I can move ahead on another topic. Just let me know. And as who gave the answer here? Okay, so yeah, Ritik also gave an answer. Yes, Ritik, you are right. Just you can quote that A under strings, under quotation, sorry, inverted comma, and yes, and the index will be 1. Okay, for 3. So dot get command is told by Bilal. Let us see what dot get command is. So dot get command works the same way. Let me write that. So dictionary dot get, and suppose I write a. Okay, so when I will run that, okay, sorry, let me print that. Uh-huh. Okay, let me check. Sorry, that's dictionary temp. Yeah, better now. Yeah, so it printed the list. So this way you can use dot get also. And suppose there is an element, there's a key that is not in the list. Suppose I search for B. So it should give me an error or maybe none. Yes, so it gave me none because there's no key as B. So we can keep a default value. There's an another argument that we can pass in get function. We can pass another value, any value that you want to print instead of none. Okay, suppose you are trying to get a value of for a particular key which is not present in the dictionary, then you can set a default value for that. Suppose I set that value as -1. When I try to print that, it will print -1 instead of none. So that was the whole method of using get. There are pretty like amazing functions in dictionary. So these are clear. What clear will do? It will simply clear the dictionary. So suppose you have a dictionary D as A equals to 1. So D, when you print, it's like that. And when you clear and now print D, it is. So another method is copy. If you want to copy one dictionary to another. So this is a pretty important method, and I would like you all to focus on this too. So just see how that works. So suppose I make a copy of D, and it is here D. So I am using simply an assignment operator. If you remember in the last class we discussed about assignment operator. This is an assignment operator. So I am using assignment equals to operator, and what it should do, ideally it should copy all the elements of D into D copy, right? So let us see how it works. So it will make another dictionary, not make another dictionary, it will copy the elements of D in D copy, ideally. I guess there is some problem with my network issue. Sorry, I guess there was some network issue. Is my screen visible to all?
Yes, Apurv, it is
Okay, cool.
visible.
Thank you. Okay, so where I was telling about this now. Yeah. So basically, what I did is I just copied D to D copy, right? Ideally, it should just print the same D here. Okay. Yeah. Fine. No doubt here. Now let us see why it is different, why it is not the correct way of making a copy of a dictionary. So suppose what I do is, sorry, I will update. What this update mean? So basically, update means I can add more values to dictionary, or I can update an existing value. So if you want to add a new value to the new key value pair to the dictionary, you can simply use this way. Okay, you can simply define it. Suppose I write this 2, and now I print d copy. Like it's okay, no problem. But let us now print d. So ideally, D should be printed as it is, okay, as it was earlier. But no, here you see the difference. Why D has also changed along with D copy? So this is because when we are using assignment operator, it is not actually copying the values, it is making a reference. What reference means, you will come to know about it when you study about pointers in C++. So, or maybe later on. Well, don't think about that. I will tell you in the most simplest way. So basically what it will do, it will set a reference. Reference means that whenever any change is made in D copy, it will be reflected in D. Okay. So if I just add a new value to D copy, it will also be added to D automatically. So these both dictionaries, D and D copy, are not separate dictionaries. These are just reference of one another. Okay, so D copy is a reference of D. It is not a new dictionary that has all the elements of D. Okay, so how to create a copy of a dictionary so that it remains independent of the original dictionary? So for that we have the copy function here. So let me go down and copy function. So if I make another one, D copy 1, and this time I will use the copy function, okay, and then print the copy 1. Before that I will also make some changes here. I will add a new value to D copy 1, and what should be that, maybe C equals to 3, and now when I run it, you see it has printed ABC3. Okay, so let me comment this out. And if I now print D, it will not get changed. Okay, so it is as it is. So this is the use of copy function in Python dictionary, and you have other functions as d.get I have already told you about. Then you have items. Items will return the key value pairs, then all the key value pairs, and then keys. It will return all the keys in the form of a list. Okay, so suppose the keys in this particular dictionary are 1 and 2, so it will return uh, list like this, 1 comma 2. Then key dot update is simply a way to add a new key. So what you are doing this way, you can also do it the copy dot update. Okay, and here you can write d4. So this is the same way you are adding a value, you are adding a new key value pair in the dictionary. Pop is the way you can pop some item out. Basically, you can delete some key value pair from the dictionary. Values will return the values in the form of a list. Keys will return keys in the form of a list. And the pop item will pop the very last item from the dictionary. Okay, so here the very last item is b, like key value pair is b2. So it will return, it will delete b2 from the dictionary. So I guess now you have an idea of Python dictionary. Let me check if there is any doubt here. So that means, unlike C, when we assign a value in Python, it is passed as an address instead of a copy. Um, no, actually, that doesn't happens with the normal variable. Okay, that happens with the object, like data structure such as dictionary, or you can say list, tuples. That happens in the case of data structures in Python. Okay, that is not the case with variables or something else. For that you use ampersand. Okay, that is a topic to be discussed later on, but your question was valid. Okay, I hope you have got your answer. So now we come on tuple, and so tuple has some amazing fact. Okay, so let me tell you. So yeah, basically when you studied about list, Aradhya told you that it is mutable. What does mutable means? That you can append any value to the list, you can change any value in the list. But tuples are a quite different way. They are quite, you can say, rude, or maybe they want them to be mutable because they are immutable data structures. What does immutable means? That once you define, actually once you define a tuple, you cannot change any value of that tuple, or you can't update any value of that tuple, or you can not add any value to the tuple. So let me show you why. So suppose what is a tuple basically? Let me show you. So tuple looks like this. Let me zoom in a little. So you represent that with like curved brackets. So if I write t equals to 1 comma 2 comma 3, so this is basically a tuple. So we were defining list with square brackets, dictionary with curly brackets, and in that we will write key and then value. And how we are defining tuples? We are defining it using this. Okay. Now suppose what I do is, uh, okay. Suppose I just try to print t0. So it will print 1. It works as the same way the list works. Okay, you can access any element using index. Okay, but the only difference, the major difference is about mutation, that you can mutate this tuple. Okay, once you define that. Suppose I try to change the value of t0 to suppose 5. Let us see. So see, I got an error of that is type error. Tuple object does not support item assignment. That simply means that you can't update any value in the tuple once it is declared, because tuples are immutable data structures. Okay. So what is the reason that why would you use tuple? Like why would you use that? So just a simple example is, suppose you want to write a code, suppose you want to write a program where you don't want the values to be changed. Suppose once the user entered some value, you don't want that value to get updated. Okay, you don't want you want a secure system where you don't values to be changed by some outsider. So you store the values in a tuple so that these value once stored can't be changed later on. So this there you can't use list, because list allow mutating any of the value. Okay, you can change any of the value in the list, you can append any value. You can't use dictionary because you don't have a need of key value pair, and also dictionary can be updated, they are mutable data structure, so you don't need that. You need tuples in this case. So this is a difference between tuples when it comes to their use case. So you can have a lot of similar functions like in list and dictionary. So basically what is sorted, I will discuss that. So suppose you have a tuple that is 4 comma 3 comma 3. So if you use sorted function, it will return a list with sorted values. Okay, so basically it will sort all the values and return in the form of a list. And suppose you have you can also define a tuple this way, 4 comma 2, and then when you try to print t, so it will print it in the form of a tuple. Also you can define that like this using tuple. Okay, so there are multiple ways you can define a tuple, and you can also use len function to find the length of a tuple, max function to find the maximum value in a tuple, minimum to find minimum value, sum to find the sum, and etc etc. You can do a lot of things here. I will be adding some links to these resources in the collab itself later on, where you can go and read more about all these data structures in Python. So do you have any doubts here? If you have, just ask me, or if there are no doubts, so I can move ahead. But like I would like to tell you one more thing. So it's an amazing concept in tuples. So suppose you can make a immutable form of dictionary in tuple, immutable form of dictionary using tuples. Like how? Suppose you use something like this. Let me first see if there is any doubt. Okay, so there is no doubt right now. So I can easily come back here and see what we can do. Yeah. So suppose I define a tuple. Okay. It's basically 2 comma 4. Now I want to assign a particular key to these. Okay. So suppose I use k1 comma k2. Sorry, k equals to t. Let me check. So yeah, that's perfect. Now suppose I print k1. So what it prints 2. So basically what happening here is k1, this value 2 has been mapped to variable k1, this value 4 has been mapped to variable k2. So here you can make a key value pair as in dictionary. So you can create a dictionary kind of data structure that is immutable using tuples. This is an amazing concept in tuple, and you can explore that in your way. But don't do that. Do one thing, okay? Don't do like you use one key and your tuple contains two elements. So in that case, it must throw an error. Okay. Oh, sorry. Wait a second. Let me show you. Not this way. Mm-hmm. First, I will. Yes. Now see. I don't know why that thing is not happening here. Let me check that once. Mm-hmm. So suppose I do that. Like K2. Yeah. So yeah, in this case, you will get an error. Basically, when you are using tuples, okay, so if you are not defining two particular keys for values, so it will map all those values in that one key, okay, as it was doing with the k1. But you are using multiple keys for lesser values. In that case, it will return an error. So you can understand it in a way: more keys and okay, more keys, lesser values will throw an error, while lesser keys and more values works fine. Okay, so you can just keep that in mind, and I will just comment that out. So this is how you can use a tuple. And now we come on our very last data structure for the day, that is set. So I guess everyone has studied about set. Am I right or wrong? Because I have also passed 12th class. So everyone has studied about set, okay? That union, intersection, difference, set, difference, okay? So you must have studied about set. So what is the basic concept of set? So let me open this here, show you here, okay? So suppose you have a set, you have two A, set A and set B. Just revising the concepts you have studied in your 12th class or maybe 10th class, right? So suppose there are two set A and B, and you want to find the common elements in that, maybe the intersection of A and B. So basically you want to find A intersection B, right? So here your set comes into play. So Python provides set where you can use a different like functions such as union, intersection on different sets, okay? So let me show you how to define a particular set. So uh, yeah, here you also use the same curly braces. Let me first, okay. So this way, suppose you define one value as 1, other value as 2, then 3. Basically these are strings, okay? 4. So if I print the type of s, this type function will return whether it is a set, tuple, list, or Python. So it is a set here, okay? Now, another concept of set is, as you must be knowing about that, a set cannot consist the same value more than one time. Suppose I enter 1 here, okay? I enter 1 two times. So now let us print set s. So it will print 1 only one time. Why? Because set, it's the property of a set that it contains one value at least one time, okay? It can't contain that particular value more than one time, okay? So this is the main concept of set. You can also use different data types, okay? So suppose you use you can say 23. Okay. So now I would like to tell you one thing here. So what the thing is that, see, we know that list is a mutable data structure. Tuples are mutable, immutable data structure. Dictionary are mutable data structure, and set is a mutable data structure. So set does not support list inside a set. What that means? Let me show you. Suppose I use a tuple here. I use a tuple 4, 5, 4, comma 5. Okay. And let me print this set. It should work pretty fine. Okay. It works pretty fine. And now suppose I use a list 4, comma 5. It throws an error. What the error is? Unhashable type list. So that you will study later on that what hashing is. So hashing is a way that you use a hash function to map a particular value to a hash. Okay. So don't just think about that right now if you don't know. So you will come to that know about that later on. So here, what set is, why we are not able to use list in a particular set, because list is a mutable data structure and set does not support any mutable data structure. You cannot use any element in a set which is mutable. Okay, one is not mutable, two is not mutable, but this list is mutable. Later on, what I can do is, if I want this, okay, and append some value to this particular list, so that won't work because set does not support mutable elements. Okay, set elements do not support mutable data structure, mutable element. Okay, so this is why you can't use a list and dictionary in a set. You can't use list and dictionary in a set because they are mutable. What mutable means? That they can be changed, like a new value can be added to a list, a existing value can be updated in a list. Okay, now let us discuss about some functions in set. Suppose you have two set. So this is pretty simple. So let me define that 1 comma 2 comma 3, and another set is set 2 equals to 1 comma 4 comma 5, maybe 3. Okay, so let me do it this way: 1 2 3 4 1 3 5. No worries. Now let me see how this intersection works. Okay, suppose I want to find the intersection. So I will do S1 intersection S2. What it will return? It will return the common values in both set S1 and S2. So what are the common values? 1 and 3, because they are available both in S1 and S2. So it will return 1 comma 3. Suppose I want to, let me write here, print, okay, so, well, let it this way, okay. So let me print it like intersection. Yes. Then suppose I want to print union. Okay. Suppose I want to print union. So in that case, you can do it similar way. S1 dot union S2. What union means? It will print the values that are present both in S1 and S2. So let us see how. Uh, okay. Okay. Sorry. So F, yeah. So basically these are not similar data types, so I can't do it this way. Yeah, I will do it this way. Aradha, can you just confirm if you have discussed about format while printing?
No, Apur, I haven't.
Okay, so let me introduce them to format. Okay, so basically what F means, it is a format specifier. Format is like what it does is, so suppose you like you just saw that intersection was a string and this is a set. Okay, so these are not similar data types. So how you can print them, like print them while concatenating both, like both of them at the same time. So for that we use F, and then you use inverted commas. Okay, so what it does is, whatever variable you have, you write it in braces, and whatever string you have, you write it like simply like this. Okay, so here what I did is, I wrote intersection simply as a string under F, and then under curly braces I wrote this S1 dot intersection S2. So it will print both of them while concatenating them the way you want, the way you have defined in the print statement. Okay, so you won't get the error you were just seeing. So there are another functions such as copy. Works the same way as in dictionary. Difference returns the difference between the two sets. Suppose you have a set S1 and the set S2. So suppose you have a set S1. Okay, sorry. So let us find some blank space here. Okay, yeah, this is better. So suppose you have a set uh, A and a set B. So difference of two set is, suppose I do S1 dot difference A dot difference B. So it will return all the values that are part of A but not a part of B. Okay, that are in A but not in B. Okay, and what is the another function we have? Another function we have as remove. It will remove a particular value from the set. Then we have superset and discard, so it will discard any value. So there are multiple functions that you can use, and one thing that you will find common in most of the function is no matter whether it is C++ or Python, you will find one thing in common, that the functions used in different data structures in both languages are quite same. Like you were using copy function in dictionary, and you are also using the same in tuple and list and in sets. You are also using intersection. Sorry, intersection is not common. You are using len function, clear function. So these are some functions that are common in all the data structures, right? So till here, if you have any doubt, just post it in the chat box, or else we can move ahead, like we can move towards the quiz time, maybe the most interesting part. Here I have also listed some a screenshot where you can see the difference between list, set, dictionary, and tuple. So it will give you a like it should give you an idea of what is the main difference between all these four data structures. Okay, so you can just go through them once I share the collab link in the classroom. Also, if you want to read about the copy function, right? Basically, why we use that copy. So I had written an like blog over that. So that copy thing can be done with a copy module too. So later on, if you want, you can read about that in your free time. Okay, so there's a question: how to find intersection of three sets? Okay, so suppose you have three sets. Let me go back there. Yes. So where I was? Okay, here. So suppose I have S3. Okay. So let us say 6 comma 7 comma 1. Now I want to find what you said was intersection, right? So it's pretty simple. Just write comma S3. So one is the only common element in all the three, sorry, sets. Okay, so you can do the same thing with union function. You can do the same thing with superset, set difference function and the difference function and intersection function, as I have already told you. So you can use multiple sets to find the intersection. It is not like you want to find only two sets at a time. You can do multiple ones. So I guess if like no one has any doubt, we can come back to the slide. Okay, so let me share that.
पूर्व एक क्वेश्चन था।
Yes, sure.
वो सेम कॉपी पे था, उसमें आपने कॉपी में बोला था कि जो इसमें डिक्शनरी में जो एड्रेस के थ्रू मतलब पास होता है वो कॉपी प्रोड्यूस नहीं करते जब असाइन करते हैं, तो फिर आपने अगली बार क्या करा, एक कॉपी बन करा फिर से उसको असाइन करा, तो उसमें भी तो सेम एड्रेस पास होना चाहिए था ना, उसमें क्यों नहीं हुआ?
Didn't get you like मतलब एक बार स्क्रीन चेक करो और फिर मुझे बताओ कि वेरिएबल यूज करके ज्यादा अच्छे समझ में
आपने
आएगा।
पहले डी कॉपी असाइन करा, डी
ठीक है।
ठीक है, फिर आपने एक D1 कॉपी असाइन करा डी कॉपी इसकी जगह, हाँ ये, तो फिर दोनों में सेम एड्रेस पास हुआ होगा ना, तो फिर एक में प्रिंट क्यों आ रहा है, डी की वैल्यू चेंज हुई और एक में नहीं आ रही?
Actually, no. In the very first one, ये D copy में, what I have done is I have made a reference. Okay, जैसा कि मैंने बताया कि एक reference set करता है for that variable D. Okay, for the dictionary D. Sorry. Okay. और जब तुम D dot copy यूज करोगे, तो मतलब behind the scenes हो क्या रहा होगा कि एक नई डिक्शनरी क्रिएट हो रही होगी. Okay, with the same values, same key value pairs as in D. तो बेसिकली वो हो क्या रहा होगा, जितने भी डी के एलिमेंट्स हैं वो कॉपी होके डी कॉपी वन में जा रहे होंगे, तो एक नई डिक्शनरी क्रिएट हो रही होगी. सो डी कॉपी वन एक पूरी नई डिक्शनरी क्रिएट हो गई जिसका डी से कोई लेना देना है ही नहीं। ओके, या इस केस में क्या था, यहाँ पे एक रेफरेंस सेट हो रहा था, तो मैं डी कॉपी में कोई चेंज करूंगा तो वो डी में दिखाई देगा, डी में चेंज करूंगा तो डी कॉपी में दिखाई देगा। और यहाँ क्या हो रहा है, यहाँ पे टोटली नई कॉपी क्रिएट हो रही है। बेसिकली तुम ऐसा समझ लो कि बिहाइंड द सीन्स हो क्या रहा है, एक नई डिक्शनरी बन रही है विद सेम की वैल्यू पेयर्स एस एंड डी। गॉट इट?
थैंक यू।
ओके, एनी मोर डाउट्स? माइक ऑन करके पूछ लो यार, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। So like if there are no doubts, I can move ahead, and now it's time for, yes, quiz. So how many of you attended the quiz last time? Uh, because that will help me know like how many of you know how to play the quiz. Okay, Ritik and Sajid, you have raised hands. Yes, you can raise hands. Okay, let me see. Ah, okay. So many of you have like many of you have an idea of how to play the quiz, but no worries, I will tell you how to play the quiz. So let me first open the quiz. Just if you are using your mobile, if you are using your maybe laptop, just type in kahoot.it, www.kahoot.it. So Aradhya, can you just type in the chat box?
Yeah, just a sec.
Okay, thank you. Till then, I'm like opening the quiz. So basically, this is a quiz of whatever I have taught in this particular class, and it will include some like some concepts from the previous class, not all, like very little concepts from the previous class, and it is focused on this particular class precisely. And we will be declaring the winners at the end. Okay, let me check. So I will share a pin with you all, and that you will have to enter there. Then you can choose a nickname for you. Okay, and enter the quiz. I guess my network are pretty slow. Let me stop sharing my screen and try. Just give me a second, and I will connect once again. Oh God, networks.
Till then, you can post your queries if you have any.
Well, I guess the network, maybe my network are slow, or maybe this website is like down. Aradhi, can you just check whether Kahoot.com is allowing sign in?
Apurv, it's Kahoot.it.
No, basically, I'm like organizing the game, so I will go to
Okay.
Kahoot.com. Just check and let me know whether you can sign into the website or not.
Yes, yes, I can.
You are able to.
Yep.
Okay. So maybe my network is slow, too slow. Yeah, just a second, Samiksha. I think I need to join again and check. Okay, so it's working now. Great. So I will just join from my laptop once and share the screen. So the game pin. Yeah. So game pin is 4965791. Uh, I will type in the chat box. So it's 4965791. Yeah. Thank you. Come on, join fast, whoever is left. So we will start. Also, can you hear the music?
Yes, Apurv. Also, you can start now. Start the quiz.
Okay, cool.
Let's. Yeah.
If everyone has joined, I will just lock the room. Okay. So yeah, let's start now. Uh, okay. Okay,
Okay,
Kirti.
waiting.
Sure. Okay, so Kirti, have you joined? Maybe the.
Okay, we can begin now.
Okay, cool. So let's lock the room and start the game. So let's start. Okay. First question for you. True or false? Hmm. Okay. Well, nice.
Great.
First time I've seen like everyone has given a right answer.
100% correct response.
So kind Finch, flying griffin. Flying griffin was last time too. Mountain kitten, social dog, diplomat, condor. So Ken Finch. Alright, quite fast answer. Next question. What is the output? Okay. Let's see who gives the answer. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, okay.
Okay.
So that was the question, right? And the answers are 4, 5, 6. Let me check once. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's move to the next question.
Okay.
So, who's gonna win now? Okay. Well, 8 correct answers.
Great,
Isn't that?
great.
Yeah. So,
Flying Griffin came to top now.
and Rapid Bobcat, you are the highest climber. Why? Wow, like, that's too cool.
3 places up.
Double points. Okay. Okay, that's a true or false. So you have to check whether it will end after a fixed number of iterations or not. Yes. Okay, false. 9 answers. Well done.
Lovely. Moving on. Let's see. Okay.
Climber,
Darling
man.
Penguin. Okay, now this is a close competition.
Yes, too close. Guess the output. Again, that one is interesting one. Okay. 9 answers. Wow, 333. Nice fun. Nice of Python. Great work. Daring Penguin. Streak.
Oh, lovely. 3 correct answers in a row.
And we shouldn't forget about Social Dog and Flying Griffin to maintain their position.
Yeah.
So, okay, double points for this.
Double
Copy,
points.
copy everywhere. Guess the output if you dare. Okay. Let's see who breaks this. 5 correct answer. Well done.
Okay, well done. Yep. Okay.
Wow, Daring
Did
Penguin is not leaving its place. And Mountain Kitten on the second place. Social Dog on the third. Nice. Very last question. Now is your time. Multi-select.
multiple correct answers, double points.
Okay, which of the following object can't be a set element? That's pretty straightforward. So that's multi-correct. Okay. Well, nice.
Nice. Wow.
8 people give
Okay.
the same crowns. Huh? So let's see the third winner.
Any
Diplomat
guesses?
Crane. Oh,
Okay. Flying
Flying Griffin.
Griffin.
And Daring, I guess, right? Daring Penguin.
Yep.
Oh no.
Move. Okay. Mountain Kitten. Lovely.
Well, that was amazing. That was cool.
Okay. Great.
Nice one.
Okay. Who are these people?
Yes, please write in the chat box. We should know.
Okay. Sanskriti. Lovely. Congratulations.
Yep. Congrats.
Congrats,
Navid,
Kanak. Congrats.
Kanak. Oh my god, wow. Nice Kanak. Great work. Sanskriti, great work too. And Navid. And everyone, like whoever gave the quiz, that's an awesome one. So you tried your best now. So let us see, like if you want to discuss any particular question, let me know. So if you don't want any question to be discussed,
Let's
well,
end the session then.
yes. Okay. So
I
yeah,
guess we should end the session now.
yeah.
Since
Okay then. The home assignment for today will be posted on the classroom. The link for the collab will be posted in the classroom, and some resources that I will add in the collaboratory itself, and will try to post it in the classroom also, so that you can look, like, you can go through them and learn more about that. So see you in the next class. Thank you everyone for joining. That was great having you here.